Remember that old proverb, for want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. And it goes on until the kingdom was lost. Recently, we've seen how a shortage of computer chips, like the one I have here, it's called a semiconductor, a 21st century horseshoe nail.
The issue is that the United States is increasingly reliant on foreign sources for the manufacture of the semiconductors. We still have the lead in designing them, but we have a small share of the global market for producing these chips. And the concern is that the sources of them are almost all in East Asia, in proximity to China.
We're going to deal with China effectively.
And so in the most recent defense authorization bill, there is a section called the CHIPS Act, which authorizes some research programs and some grants for companies involved in chip manufacture and testing. The issue is that Washington could spend some $37 billion this year alone. That's the commitment that might be made in the coming months. And yet the policy, as codified in the CHIPS Act, is not what a lot of experts would want. First of all, they say, we need to have a national strategy for what our goals are in this arena and what the steps are that we're going to take to get there. And the solution has to be broader. It has to encompass everything from immigration policies to education if it's going to be done right. So that's the first sort of overarching criticism. Another argument that people make is that we are not going to win a competition against Taiwan or South Korea in building the leading edge semiconductors. They're too far ahead. It's too much of a national commitment for them that it is not for us. And so some of these analysts say it would be better for us to focus on what's coming next in the field. There's a shortage of chips right now, but it's primarily due to supply chain disruptions that arose during the pandemic. In other words, it's a temporary thing. And so we don't really need to have an ongoing multi-billion-dollar subsidy program to address a temporary shortage of chips. And another question people ask is, what are the criteria for giving out some of these grants? The Commerce Department is going to be handling multi-billion-dollar grant programs, something that many analysts say they are not equipped to do. They just don't have the chops for that say the Defense Department has. I guess the last thing that people talk about is this going to be an ongoing program? Once the U.S. government has spent X billion dollars on the program, are people going to say, well, we've already spent that much, we can't stop now? Those are some of the criticisms. They may be addressed going forward, but as of now, a lot of these questions remain unanswered.